Welcome to NightLore. Tonight, I need you to listen carefully. This isn't just a story, it's a confession. A piece of truth I've carried for too long, one that weighs on me even now. What I'm about to tell you didn't come from books or rumors or ghost tales whispered by the fire. It happened to me. And if you hear your own name in the silence after this story, don't answer. My name is Mr. Hellbrook, and I've been teaching for over 15 years. Long enough to know that kids are kids, no matter where you go, noisy, rowdy, clever, in ways adults have long forgotten. But last fall, I moved north to a small district and found myself in charge of a class unlike any I'd taught before. They weren't bad, not at all, just different, watchful, wary. They could scream themselves hoarse during dodgeball, 1 minute, then fall into a silence so sharp it made the air ring. It was during one of those silences that I noticed their game. At first, I thought it was a version of tag or some local chant like Duck Duck Goose. A circle would form slow steps around a chosen child. A chant followed, not a rhyme, but a cadence of names. The child in the center baited and teased, trying to trick the others into saying their own name. Whoever slipped became it. That much I understood. But what unsettled me wasn't the rules. It was how serious they were. The game always began the same hushed voices, deliberate steps, a strange reverence. The playground could be roaring with laughter, but when that circle formed, the noise dimmed as if some unseen boundary had dropped. And the one in the center, they never looked like they were playing. Shoulders hunched, eyes cast down. Sometimes I thought I saw tears. I told myself it was an act. Kids invent penalties all the time to raise the stakes. But something about it left a sour taste in my mouth. Sometimes they tried it on me. Come on, what's your first name, Mr. Hellbrook? Just once, just your first name. But I'd smile and shake my head, repeating the rule I'd lived by my whole career. I'm Mr. Hellbrook to you. Nothing more. And I might have ignored it all if it weren't for Noah. Noah was quite thin, a boy with more burdens than a 10-year-old should carry. His father came and went. His mother worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. I spent extra time with him, coaxing him to read aloud, praising every small victory. One great Tuesday, I saw him standing in the circle, his fists clenched tight, his shoulders trembling. He wasn't sulking. His face was pale hollow. His lips moved, whispering, not to the children, not to himself, but to something else. I pulled him aside afterward. That game doesn't look fun, I said gently. He avoided my eyes. It's just a game. It doesn't have to be, I told him. If the others are giving you trouble, I'll step in. But his voice was a whisper. You don't understand. Then help me. I can't fix what I don't know. He shook his head, eyes older than any child should be. It's not trouble. It's the rules. What rules? He leaned closer, his lips barely moving. If we tell, you join the game. His words clung to me. I asked the class the next day, casual as I could, that name game you play. What's it about? The room went silent. Forks froze over lunchboxes. The loudest kid stared at the floor. And then a girl at the back muttered without looking up. If you don't pass it on, it stays. The others hissed at her, shushing. No one spoke again. But the words burned into me. If you don't pass it on, it stays. That night I lay awake thinking of Noah's face, that hollow despair. And by morning, I'd made a decision. At recess, the circle formed again. Noah stood in the center, head hanging. His shoulders looked too heavy for him to carry. So I stepped forward. Tell you what I said softly. How about I play this time? The children froze mid-step, their faces blanched. Teachers don't play. One of them whispered. Why not? I asked. Seems like fun. For the first time all week, Noah's eyes lit up. You can, he murmured, but you have to do it right. And what's right? You have to say your full name. The circle rippled with shock. Some shook their heads. One tugged at Noah's sleeve. But he only whispered again. It doesn't count otherwise. I hesitated. 15 years, I'd never told a student my first name. It was a boundary, a wall that kept authority intact. But Noah was smiling. A fragile, hopeful smile I hadn't seen in weeks. What harm could a name do? So I leaned down and whispered it. John Halbrook. The change was immediate. The circle erupted into motion voices, rising into a chant. Names spilled from their mouths like water breaking a dam. Noah staggered back, laughing with sudden relief color returning to his cheeks. And I realized with a jolt that turned my stomach, I had taken something from him. Something he was glad to be rid of. That night, I heard it. Hellbrook. At first faint, just a slip in the hum of my refrigerator. Then closer, curling from the dark corners of my apartment. John Halbrook. I froze, checking every room. Locked windows, bolted door. Nothing there. But when I returned to my desk, my students' papers were scattered. Across them, in faint, uneven strokes, my name had been written again and again. From that night on, the whispers never stopped. Always soft, never violent, but relentless. My name breathed from shadows, murmured through walls. At school, I stumbled during roll call, distracted by the hiss in my ear. The children exchanged knowing looks. Whispers darted between them like sparks. He's it now, I heard one boy murmur. The collector's on him. Noah's smile was wide and weightless. He was free. And I understood. The game wasn't cruel. It wasn't bullying. It was survival. The collector wasn't a joke. It was real. And now it was mine. By the third day, the headaches began. A constant pressure on the back of my skull, like a hand pressing down, never relenting. My sleep came in fragments, broken by my own voice, uttering my name without realizing it. And when I slipped, when the sound escaped me, the room darkened as though something leaned closer to hear. The children noticed. At first, they enjoyed it longer. Recess-free periods, my control unraveling. They laughed, unburdened. But by the end of the week, their laughter died. My hands shook too badly to write. My eyes burned with sleeplessness. And then, one afternoon, I saw it. Tall, too tall. Shoulders brushing the ceiling, limbs bent at wrong angles. Its face. Nothing but a hollow black void, wet and glistening. It stood between the desks, and no one else saw it. My throat closed. My name scraped against my teeth, desperate to escape. But I bit down until my jaw ached. The figure tilted its head toward me. The void stretched wider. I thought better me than them. The room spun. For a heartbeat, the world went black. When I opened my eyes, 20 children were staring at me, silent knowing. That night, a note slipped beneath my papers. Don't keep it too long. It hurts. I began to consider it. During roll call, I imagined pushing a child to say their full name. Just one slip, just one moment, and the burden would shift. But every time I looked at their faces, their worried eyes, their young shoulders, I couldn't do it. Until she came to me. A quiet girl, small for her age, lingered after class. She met my eyes with a steadiness that made me falter. You can't hold it forever, she whispered. You're already breaking. Play with me. No, I said, too harsh. Absolutely not. You'll break, she answered. It's not supposed to stay with one person this long. I shook my head, tears burning at the corners of my eyes. You don't know what I've seen. I know enough, she said. We all do. And I thought of Noah's relief. Of the note. Don't keep it too long. It hurts. So we formed a circle, just the two of us. I tried to stall to beg her not to, but she only smiled, faintly sad, but sure. This is how it works. You know it. We all do. The chant began. My voice broke on the words. She answered, steady, unafraid. Then she slipped deliberately, speaking her own name aloud. The weight vanished from me, gone in an instant. The pressure, the whispers, the dread, it all fell away. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe. I nearly collapsed with relief. She smiled faintly. See better. My heart clenched. You shouldn't have. It's okay, she cut me off. We all take turns. The others gathered in the doorway, silent, solemn. They didn't cheer. They didn't laugh. They only surrounded her eyes, filled with an understanding far too old for children their age. Her shoulders slumped. The smile trembled. The collector was with her now. I didn't hear it anymore, but she did. And the guilt tore through me. The following week, the rhythm returned. From my window, I watched them form their circle, their chant rising. The name slipped, laughter flared, the burden shifted. It wasn't cruelty. It wasn't bullying. It was survival. And when a child held it too long, their shoulders sagging, eyes dull, the others would press in, desperate to force the exchange. But sometimes it didn't work. Sometimes the child clung to it out of fear. That's when I stepped in. I let my voice falter. My name slipped free, and the weight returned, settling like a cloak over my shoulders. And for the first time, I welcomed it. That was how I learned the truth. The circle, the chant, the names. It was never just a game. It was survival. And now, whether I like it or not, I am part of it. Maybe you are too, just by hearing it. Remember this. Never hold it too long. Never let it root too deeply. And if you ever find yourself in the middle of that circle with voices pressing in around you, don't make the mistake I did. Don't speak your name. Thank you for listening to NightLore. If you can still sleep after this, I'll see you again in the dark.